Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Paddy, and welcome back for another edition of Mid-Atlantic Wrestling as we enter 2019, which is, I think, the fourth year. Yeah, this will be the fourth year of our wonderful little series here tonight. So one thing I want to mention before we get started tonight is I'm going to be releasing the save after this episode. That doesn't mean the series is over by any means. There's hopefully many, many years left to come. I'm just going to tell you now, I don't expect the series to end anywhere before 10 years have passed. That was the length we went in the last MAW series, and I would not be surprised at all if this series went on a lot longer than 10 years. One of the joys about the C-verse is that you never really have a point where the game becomes obscene or absurd, because in real-life games, if you go about 10, 15 years, everybody in the game will essentially be new. And while that's definitely completely interesting, in fact, if you, going far back to a topic that I'm sure many of you watching aren't that interested in, I used to watch a lot of Football Manager videos, and one of the guys I used to watch a lot of back 5 years ago was Jubb, who used to run for like 2 or 3 editions of the game. He used to run a series where he would just get super far in the future. He's actually probably one of my biggest inspirations in these videos, in some ways. And those series were always incredibly interesting to me because, of course, all of the real players had been replaced by new fake players that the game had generated, and that was one of the more interesting periods of the game for me. But in TW, I feel like that's not the case. A lot of these series are character-driven. A lot of these series are personality-driven. And so for the real-world series, once all of the real characters that you can see and relate to are gone and it's been replaced by game-generated stuff, I feel like that would definitely lose a bit of its charm. In the C-verse, in a lot of ways, that's not true. Sure, I imagine 40 to 50% of the audience know who a lot of these guys are before we went in, and are interested to see what I do with them. But I'm imagining at least half the audience don't know who anybody is before the series starts, or at least don't know who most of them are. And that means that, in 10 years, when there's 1 or 2 guys who are still sticking around in their 40s, and then the rest are just guys you've never heard of, it's pretty much the same as when the game started. So, I don't know how we got off on that tangent, but the game will probably go on for quite a while. One thing I will say, though, is that the way that the game generates new workers is a little weird. You may have noticed this. I'm going to show you a new... I'll do this in the future. I will show you a couple of new workers that have been generated and show you how weird they are. Like, the stats aren't distributed properly for, like if you look at an Adam Ryland created Cornellverse character, they kind of make sense. You have charismatic characters who are good at cocky gimmicks, who are good heels, who are decent wrestlers, who are good brawlers and with some slight technical skills, right? You have charismatic baby faces who are good at the wholesome gimmicks that have good high flying, right? You've got those there are certain stats that just add up together. And when you look at them, they're like, this is who they are, here is their gimmick, this guy kind of works. Nobody's shit at everything. You'll find at least one gimmick type somebody can work with. Regens, that's not always the case. Sometimes they generate like 20 babyface performance, 20 heel performances. Like, you're just completely useless in pretty much all situations. Or you've got like a guy with 90 menace who's got like 5-star quality. And it's like, well, menace characters don't really work well as good hands. And it's just all... There are some weird things with new gens. But that's why I like to have extremely high regeneration on, because it means that I get a lot of them through, and there's got to be some gems in there somewhere. And also there are a few set to debut characters like Tommy Cornell's son. I think it's Tommy Cornell Jr. I think it's Tommy Cornell Jr., but it's been a while. Last time I played with him was back in the Road to Glory last year. Anyway, with the rambling out of the way, the save's getting released tonight after this series, just because I wanted to have a bit of separation. I think we've gotten to the point now where, everybody on the MAW original roster, barring like 3 guys, or 4 guys, I guess it is, are gone. And so the series is completely different, and if you're interested in following along, you can no longer really do that by starting up your own save. A lot's changed in this game. So, I'll be releasing the save in this video. I will warn you beforehand that there will be spoilers. There is a single spoiler. It's a minor spoiler. That's why I'm releasing the save. I was going to do this at the end of the last episode, but I thought there would be too many spoilers. And so there are a couple people, there's one main person debuting tonight, and after today you'll be able to access the save, but I will warn you that at least until next episode, if you do pick up the save tonight, you will have a single spoiler. So, just putting it out there. If you want to be completely spoiler-free, don't look at the comments, and don't download the save till tomorrow. because the comments may spoil it. I don't know. I don't think they will, but maybe. Anyway, we are here for the Ripcord Invitational, which is an 8-man single elimination tournament. We're getting to the point where we should probably extend this tournament, but I still think 8-man is good. We don't have a lot of repeats today. We only have 2 repeat entrants, I believe. So it's still pretty good. We're going back to the old style that we didn't do last year, where we're getting a lot of people in from across the territories. Nobody beyond today, I don't think. I think everybody is from the territories in some way, shape, or form. So let's take a look at the bracket, shall we? Yes, indeed. We have... Oh, one of the themes of this year's tournament is champions. We have 3. We have 3 regional champions in this tournament. We have the Canadian territorial champion, Hugh DeAsk, the Dread Pirate, making his record 4th consecutive appearance in this tournament. We have from Oli, the promising young luchador El Mitico Jr., the Freedom Caribbean Wrestling Puerto Rican champion, Billy Russell. We have our own lad, George Woolf, who's going for his 2nd consecutive tournament win. I'm not sure if I said 4th consecutive win for Hugh. If I did, that was wrong. It's his 4th consecutive appearance. That's a record. And for George, he's going for a 2nd consecutive tournament win, which I think would be a joint record with, I think, Findlay. I think Findlay won it twice in a row. Fox Mask, who is still the Coastal Zone Californian champion, or Coastal Zone champion, whatever it is, who, yes, is in his 9th reign. His 9th reign. Jesus Christ, you talk about reigns in the territories, man. Findlay had 3. That's the most we've ever had here in MAW. Even, hell, back in my MAW series when I was pushing Fro Shore pretty hard, he only had 3 or 4 reigns as the MAW champion. Fox Mask has had 9. 9 reigns. It's ridiculous. It's crazy. He's going to be facing off against a champion. In the first round, he's going to be taking on the Empire champion from New York City Wrestling, Madman Boone. And then, in a freak accident of tournament drawing, Kamikaze is going to take on his eternal rival, American Elemental, in the first round of the Ripcord Invitational 2019. We've rambled enough, folks, so I'll just say we're in the Charlotte Garden, I think. Yes, and we are here for another show. The Ripcord Invitational 14, as we go into the 14th year of Mid-Atlantic Wrestling. It's going to be a big year. There are 2 aims for 2019. Run the Mid-Atlantic Sportatorium, 2,000-seater building, at where it all begins again, and reopen the Mid-Atlantic Dojo. Those are whatever we decide to call it. Those are the 2 aims for this year. We open up the show with Hugh DeAsk, the Dread Pirate, in a match where it was a little awkward, taking on El Mitico Jr. as Hugh DeAsk, and El Mitico Jr. They clash quite well. We got Hugh DeAsk with those high-flying, brutal, violent, vitriolic high-flying maneuvers, that heelish edge he's got to him. El Mitico Jr., he can go both ways. He's got that Rudo edge. He's got that Technico edge. He could do both ways. And in tonight's match, he acts as a solid base for a high-flying Rudo, and he works that Technico style. We got Hugh just brutally beats him down. And El Mitico, he's got that selling. He's a great worker. He can sell up a storm. And although the 2 botch a few moves don't quite click, he manages to sell a good couple minutes before moving into that high-paced lucha action. Those Hurricane Ranas, those quick kicks. And he doesn't show off too much other than the high-flying in this match, and ends up picking up the victory with a surprise roll-up. Stuff from these 2. So we move into the second quarterfinal match. Who will take on El Mitico Jr. in the semifinals? Will it be George Woolf, or will it be the Freedom Caribbean Wrestling champion, Puerto Rican champion, Billy Russell? In a 47D, we have about that good heat and decent wrestling as Billy Russell and George Woolf just have a beat-down brawl. They just brawl. I said brawl like twice. They just throw forearms, throw kicks, nasty, stomp a mud hole in each other's asses. Even though they're both fully capable of wrestling a technical match, they both just brawl for a bit. Big kicks, Big kicks in the corner, big working down, which monster, they're not monsters, but which big brawly man will budge first. We've got the man with a legitimate MMA background in Billy Russell working those stiff strikes and those knockout blows, and you've got a guy in George Woolf who's worked in Japan for 2 years, who's worked that stiff, hard style, and they both just have a really brutal match before George Woolf manages to bounce off that rope with that crushing spear. Progressing to the semi-finals for the second year in a row. Can he do it? Can he become only the second man in history to win this tournament twice in a row? We'll find out later tonight. As we move on to the second half of the bracket, it's champion versus champion. It's Foxmask, the most successful regional character in the history of territorial wrestling. Nobody has been as successful in their territory as Foxmask, but there's one thing that probably plague. There are two things that probably plague Foxmask. Right, there, his goal from a young age and from a young professional wrestling career standpoint was to wrestle in Japan. He's loved Japan. He's loved the Super Juniors. He idolized people like Optimus and Elemental, and he never got to wrestle in Japan. And he's 39 years old, and he may never get that opportunity. And the second thing is he's never been the heavyweight champion of the world. He's a 9-time Coastal Zone champion, but he has never been the heavyweight champion of the world. So both things weigh on him. Will he be able to overcome those weight? I mean, he does it every night. He has to go out there and realize that his career was so successful in California, but it wasn't as successful as it could have been. And now he's got to go out there every single night and prove to people that he is a success, that he is a glorious professional wrestler. And tonight is no different as he faces the Empire Champion, the hardcore icon, Madman Boone, known as being one of the people in this world that tore their bodies apart for professional wrestling. He was in Dave, he was in Hollywood, he was in TCW, and no matter what you threw at him, he wouldn't give a shit. He's very reminiscent of the Devil May Care guys on the roster, very reminiscent of Acid and Stuntman. He would tear his body apart for glory. And it really took a toll on him. He took like 4 years off professional wrestling. He fractured his orbital bone. He had a very, very rare virus in a trip to Peru. And he took a very long time off professional wrestling. At a very young age, his body was wrecked from this sport. And he puts it all on the line every night. And I've done enough hype for this match. Let's watch champion versus champion. Two men who have really had a lot of potential. And just something made it so that they couldn't fulfill their goals. But tonight, they have an opportunity to win one of the most prestigious tournament titles in professional wrestling today. And who will do it in a 59C? A very good match. It had great heat and decent wrestling. Foxmask defeats Madman Boone of the Fox Hunter. Very good stuff from both men. They have great chemistry. Madman Boone, he tries to set that slower pace. He tries to brawl. He tries to maybe grapple with Foxmask a little, try and slow him down. Throws those elbows, throws those dangerous kicks. Maybe he even, I don't know, maybe he even does go to the top rope a few times because he doesn't care. He's maybe a flying headbutt or two, maybe a tope with with that arrow style, that Dragon Lee style tope that just, it's basically a flying headbutt through the ropes, right? But Foxmask, he's just faster, he's quicker, he's slicker, and he just, hits those Hurricane Ranas, those big drop kicks. He excites the crowd. There's one thing that Foxmask is perfect at, is exciting the crowd, and he just gets the crowd hyped up, gets them hyped up. It almost feels like the Coastal Zone in Mid-Atlantic Wrestling tonight in the Charlotte Garden. But no, it is the Charlotte Garden, it is the Ripcord Invitational, and Foxmask feeds off that atmosphere, off that heat from the crowd, and does indeed pick up the victory. Good stuff from Foxmask as he progresses to the semifinals. But will he be facing Kamikaze or American Elemental? These two have been in a blood feud for the last year. They fought each other and just something clicked. They looked at each other and thought, and they either saw some similarities between the two or some differences between the two. I'm not entirely sure, but something clicked and they just did not like each other. And from day one, they were throwing their bodies at each other. And they didn't care whether it took years off their career. And in their own words, they're willing to kill themselves to take down their rival. And that's exactly what they've done this entire time. American Elemental has taken 2 out of the 3 matches. Big deal for them. Big deal for him. And of course, one of those matches ended up leading to a Mid-Atlantic Championship match. But what will happen tonight? This is tournament play. This is official play. This match matters more to the Confederation of the Territories rankings than any match they've had before. Who will come out on top tonight in tournament play? in a 47D, probably one of the worst match of their series, actually. Did I forget to put on their... I didn't... Oh, no, yeah, they weren't doing high-flying and spinal impact moves in this one. So it was actually kind of boring, honestly. They just ended up throwing... just brutal punches at each other, ended up throwing some brutal kicks and brutal. It was a strike fest, honestly. That was one of the reasons probably why it wasn't so well received by the crowd, was that it was more of a strike fest. Before they'd go into the crowd, they do crazy stuff. They do a sunset flip power bomb to the outside onto the concrete or something. This was just a brawl. Just more of a brawl, which is definitely more hate-filled and more hate-fueled. But this crowd in MAW, they saw this match on the marquee and they thought, I was expecting some exciting, high-flying daredevil action, and I just didn't get it. And in the end, American Elemental's attempts at high-flying, his attempts at winning this match through his high-pace, high-octane, adrenaline rush style were thwarted when Stuntman and Acid interfered, distracting and interfering against their American Elemental, who, of course, now we can't assume too much about what's just gone on here, but there's two potential options. Remember last year that Stuntman and Acid saw American Elemental as one of their bigger rivals in the tag team scene. American Elemental and Eric Lee, the tag team of Americana, were a big rival in that tag team scene. And now that they're tag team champions, they need to strike early. They need to take out their rivals before they get up ahead of steam and get a title shot. Right? Maybe that was their motive tonight, was to take out American Elemental before he and Eric Lee could rise up those tag team ranks. But there is another option. It could well be just a quid pro quo situation. Oh, geez, my voice is going today, isn't it? I'm going to move my mic and cough really hard and hope that I can get through this recording. It would be a real shame if I'd have to end this recording, because I haven't edited a single episode in the series yet, and I don't want to start today. I only want to record one episode today. I'm trying to record an episode a day at least. Usually I get 2 or 3 done, so that I can upload an episode a day and not get behind. So yes, let's just get through the episode. I won't rush it, but if you hear my voice cracking, I really do apologize. There's not too much I can do about it. Guess I've just, had a talky day. I guess I have had a talky day. I forgot, this could be a quid pro quo situation. If you remember, in the summer of last year, when Kamikaze ended up inflicting an injury to American Elemental during their match, that kept American Elemental out of the Sam Keith Classic, the premier tag team independent wrestling tournament. And that left an opening. And Devil May Care, the team of Acid and Stuntman, took that opening and ended up winning the Sam Keith Classic, which ended up leading to them winning the Mid-Atlantic Regional Tag Team Championships. So it could be a bit of payback. In fact, they called out Kamikaze and gave him props for causing that injury. So maybe this is just a thanks, or a returning of the favor, or maybe they're working together and against American Elemental. There's a lot of options here, but one thing is for sure. Kamikaze will be taking on Fox Max in the semifinals. Ernest Youngman is in the interview area, and he looks happy. He looks hyped. He looks psyched for 2019, and he gets on the mic and he says, "Sweet Tabitha, baby girl, today is the start of Mid-Atlantic Wrestling's 2019. I feel excited. You want to know why? Because I'm the wrestling machine. I'm the best there's ever been. I'm the assassin of the squared circle. My name, Ernest Youngman. And tonight is a big night, not for me, but for this company. It shows the growth and the prestige of this company to be able to run this building on a constant basis. This is one of the greatest buildings in professional wrestling, and as someone who loves professional wrestling, I just love being here. I take every step in this building and I feel professional wrestling, and it's wonderful. And I'm out here for 2 reasons, and the first is to tell all y'all that the DVD for Where It All Begins Again 2018 will be on sale Tuesday. Make sure you pick one of them up, alright? And the second reason, probably the most important reason, is to announce that Ernest Youngman is going to have a great 2019. Ernest Youngman is going to have the best 2019. Ain't nobody gonna have as good of a 2019 as Ernest Youngman. You see, I'm one of the greatest technical wrestlers in the territories today, and I don't want to have an ego about it. I don't want to get caught up in my own ego or anything, but I'm out to prove that I am the greatest technical wrestler in the territories today. So I'm announcing the Ernest Youngman Best in the World Series. And I'm calling out people across the territories to come here to Mid-Atlantic Wrestling and have main event caliber matches with Ernest Youngman throughout the spring. Notification. Throughout the summer. I'm calling you out. Because I want to face the best this world has to offer, the best this territory has to offer. Because I've seen those Confederation of Territory rankings, and I agree with them. They are some of the greatest we've seen in this business. And I'm not like Greg Gage. I'm not going to specifically go after the Confederation of the Territory's top 5. But I want to face the best the world has to offer, and I want to get my coefficient ranking up. Because Ernest Youngman is running at that title one more time. Ernest Youngman is heading for the World's Heavyweight Championship because, as you all know by now, there's only one championship in the wrestling world that proves you're number one. And to be the man, you gotta beat the man. And that man right now is Mountain Man Cahill. And I want to be the man. I want to be number one. I want to prove to the world that I'm the wrestling machine. I want to prove to the world that I'm the best there's ever been. And that means I've got to hold gold around my waist. I've got to wear fancy clothes. I've got to have my own private jet. I've got to be the best paid. And that means the World's Heavyweight Championship. Actually, ignore that best paid part. That doesn't fit my character at all. I hate people who have a lot of money. Ignore that. Scratch that from the record. Retconned immediately. Do you get me, sweet Tabitha? Baby girl. So 2019, you're going to watch out for Ernest Youngman. Because it is going to be a great year. It's going to be a great year. Ernest Youngman psyched for 2019. Looking to face the best that has to offer. As we move in, ladies and gentlemen, to the semi-finals, it is time for El Mítico Jr. to take on George Woolf. El Mítico Jr., a debutant in this tournament. A debutant in Mid-Atlantic Wrestling. Had a good showing against the Dread Pirate. Beat Hugh DeOsk. He was a bit of a fluke, but he's shown that he has that high-flying action and that heart. He has what it takes to be a top star here in Mid-Atlantic Wrestling. You know, because heart is such an important part of stars here. George Woolf, though, on a tear. He's only really been beaten once in 2 years. He was the 2018 Ripcord Invitational Challenge winner. And if he hits that spear, it's all over. In a 44D, George Woolf defeats El Mítico by pinfall with a spear. The game doesn't have much to say about this match, and I don't think I do either. This one is technical. You know, El Mítico Jr., he tries those high-flying moves, and George just hits him with those elbows, those forearms, hits him with those chops, maybe an Irish whip halfway across the ring. Irish whip halfway across the ring, hits the turnbuckle, and just throws El Mítico off his game. But he knows that he's got more facets to his game than that. And we start to see this quick, technical, charismatic grappling style from El Mítico Jr. He takes George Woolf down. You know, George has trimmed down a bit. George is a leaner machine than he was a couple of years ago. You know, when he went to Japan, he saw that all those guys over there, they were big, but they were lean enough that they could they had enough speed that they needed. And he's trimmed down a bit. You know, he's put on that muscle mass a little bit. You know, he's being seen on a much bigger stage now in Pride. And he is the historical Japan champion, and so he's got to be on some magazine covers, he's got to be on newspapers, so he's getting that physique, he's got that 6-pack, that 8-pack, but you know, he's a bit leaner, you know, he weighs a little less, maybe he's like 20-30 pounds lighter than he was 2 years ago, much more shaped, but weighs a little less, and he gets taken down by El Mítico, who is not a small guy. You know, El Mítico, he wears a mask, he's a luchador, but he's not a small guy. You know, in Mexico, he often plays a rudo, he's a base. You know, he's 240, maybe 250. He's a big guy sometimes in the normie world. In wrestling, he's about average, but in the normie world, he's totally a big guy. And he takes down George, and he gets that slick, quick grappling action, and very good for the crowd. They love their slick grappling. We got guys like Greg Gage and Ernest Youngman and Jay Cord who have come in here, and they're very slick grapplers, and it's very much appreciated by the crowd here in Mid-Atlantic Wrestling, here in the Charlotte Garden. But George Woolf is no slouch on the technical game either, and he's got a more of a down-to-earth grappling style. Think of Deadly Dean Waldorf. You know, he'll grind a match out, and that's exactly what he does. And, you know, nothing El Mítico can do, whether it's the quick, high-flying stuff or the down-to-earth, gritty, Dean Waldorf style no, that's what he was doing. The quick, technical, kind of escapist style grappling. Nothing was really working, and in the end, George Woolf diffuses the situation and hits him with a spear. George Woolf progressing to the finals here, and he's going to be taking on the winner of the next match. It's a big one. It is Fox Mask versus Kamikaze. Fox Mask, of course, the Coastal Zone champion, 9-time Coastal Zone champion, the most successful man in any region of the American territorial system ever. However, he never got to win the big one, the World Heavyweight Championship. Never got to compete in Japan. Even though he's 39 years old, those dreams are damn right still alive in his mind. And maybe tonight is an opportunity for him to kickstart his career. Maybe start a run at that Confederation of the Territories World Heavyweight Championship. Maybe start a run at Japan. Of course, George Woolf is in the finals. He is the current Pride historical Japan champion. If Fox Mask can get past Kamikaze, he has a shot at a guy who's a big star in Japan, his beloved Japan. I mean, it's not a company that really likes the Super Junior style, but it's Japan nonetheless, and he loves Japan as much as Greg Gates used to. But he's got to get past Kamikaze, a guy who will do anything for glory, and tonight is one of his biggest opportunities for glory. Expect fireworks, and indeed there are, as in an extremely short match. Okay, that was an extremely short match. It was not intended to be, so we're going to roll with it and say that it was crazy. It was the Matrix minute. They start off and they do like Fox Mask does like a leg sweep and Kamikaze just jumps it. Kamikaze tries to do a Pele kick and Fox Mask tries to do his own Pele kick, and Kamikaze dodges. Just a giant like roundhouse kick from Kamikaze, and Fox Mask does a backflip onto the top rope and then a shooting star press to a standing Kamikaze, and then manages to do a Fox flip off DDT. And the crowd like, the fuck just happened? That was insane. They're all on their feet just clapping like the fuck just happened. And Fox Mask picks up a win in one of the weirdest, most exciting 50-second matches in the history of professional wrestling. And Fox Mask does progress to the finals, where he will face George Woolf. Exciting stuff. I believe we have a promo next. We do. As Dewey Archer is in the interview area, and he smiles and he gets on the mic and he says, we heard from Ernest Youngman for some reason earlier tonight. I don't know why we're still hearing from Ernest Youngman. I beat him at where it all begins again. And I thought we'd toss him to the curb where he belongs. So Ernest Youngman is yesterday's news. He was a guy who was hot in the early 2018. And I don't think he's really relevant anymore. He says he's going to go on a Best in the World series. Well, quite frankly, someone like Ernest Youngman doesn't belong in such a series. I'm the guy on the top of the billing. I used to be called the local celebrity. I used to be the architect. But now I'm recognized. I'm regarded as one of the greatest technical wrestlers in this industry. And you know what? In the wrestler rankings last year, in the Confederation of the Territory wrestler rankings, I was rated higher than Ernest Youngman. So you know what? I don't want to hear from him anymore about how he wants to reclaim the World's Heavyweight Championship. I don't care. Because Ernest, you gave me a piece of advice last year that I'm going to take. Everyone wants to see me, Dewey Archer, in high-profile main event matches. Everyone wants to see me, Dewey Archer, making thousands and thousands of dollars. Everyone wants to see me, Dewey Archer, in every wrestling company on the planet, right? So I tell you what. Oh, Jesus. Everything's going wrong this episode. This is such a I don't know, a ghetto episode. So I tell you what, I'm going to be making a run for that World's Heavyweight Championship. Because I am Dewey Archer, and you will respect my authority. Because quite frankly, I'm the best technical wrestler there's ever been. I took the good bits from Sam Strong, and I took the good bits from Sam Keith, and I took the good bits from everyone else. And quite frankly, there ain't nobody, past, future, or present, who is better at grappling than the architect, Dewey Archer. And ladies and gentlemen, coming up next, we have a debutante. A newcomer to the arena of Mid-Atlantic wrestling. It is the time for a new era to begin, and with it we recognize new faces. And sometimes those new faces are old faces. Sometimes those new faces are new faces. And sometimes it's both. Tonight, we have a debutante. A Squeaky McClane defeats Papa Dan with a clean out. Comes out all high and mighty, kind of recoiling from the crowd. The crowd don't really give a shit for some reason. They're just like, who's this guy? I guess they just didn't recognize Squeaky McClane. But that's okay, because Squeaky McClane is going to tell him exactly who he is. Because after the match, he's going to get on the microphone And he's going to head to the interview area, and he's going to, like, recoil in horror from Sweet Tabitha and, like, shoo her away and say, "My name is John McClane. I mean McClane. Don't sue me. And I'm here in Mid-Atlantic Wrestling because they paid me to be here." That's about it. You know, I came here a couple of weeks ago. I've been in the territories before, and I know I have to spend a lot of time in these towns. So I came in 2 weeks ago to check out the local produce and such. If you know what I'm saying, ladies. If you know what I'm saying, local produce. And I was shocked because this town is filthy. Oh, it's filthy. I don't mean in the normal, like, litter everywhere kind of way. I mean, this is disgusting. There is grime on the sidewalk, kids playing in muck every single street I walk in. And you know, every street I saw this fat slob. There was like at least 5 of them when I walked the streets. Kind of like all of you in the crowd tonight. Just shoveling hot dogs down their gullet. Not even giving a shit how disgusting they look. And I realized North Carolina is disgusting. Horrible state. And I'm so glad that I never got to wrestle here before now, because quite frankly it would ruin my faith in humanity. This place is disgusting. And you know what's even worse? The rampant drug addiction. That's right, I know. You're all addicts. Every single park I went to, not one child swinging on the steps, and probably a good thing considering how disgusting your children are, but not one child swinging on the swings or sliding down the slides. No, you've just got a bunch of coked up addicts huddled together under the swings, or huddled together by the fucking woods, or some shit like that. You know how rampant drug addiction is in this state? It's horrible. It is absolutely horrible. And quite frankly, I am sickened to my stomach every time I have to come here. So I've made a decision. This is unusual for me. Is I'm not going to come here unless I'm getting paid to come here. I'm not going to get a hotel in Charlotte tonight. That's not what I'm going to go back to my penthouse apartment in New York, and I'm going to sleep where I don't have to look at any of you guys. So, you know, you won't be seeing me around, but maybe I'll beat a few of your heroes. Sounds good to me. Squeaky McClean has arrived here in MAW, and I need to cough again. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because I ate an hour ago. I'm going to just try and not eat ever again. Maybe that will solve my problems. But yeah, Squeaky McClean is here. He's going to be doing a lot of training work. And we'll see what happens from it. As we move into the main event of the evening, ladies and gentlemen, it is a big match. Ladies and gentlemen, our main event of the evening is George Woolf, who is looking to retain his Ripcord Invitational Challenge title. He's looking to become a 2-time winner of the event. He won it last year. He beat Ernest Youngman in a fantastic match. However, remember that Ernest Youngman was injured going into that match. He was hurt badly by a dominant, destructive scythe. Tonight, Fox Mask had a really short semi-final match. It was crazy, it was high octane, but it was short. And you know, Fox Mask is nothing to be sniffed at. We've talked all night long about his accomplishments, how successful he has been in this industry. But tonight, as we've talked about, is his night to shine. Tonight is his night to get everything back on track. Is it going to be a man who has been around a very long time, but has not achieved his aims despite being incredibly successful? Is it going to be a chance for him to reignite his career? Or is it going to be a young, gnarling, frothing at the mouth for success lad who has been fighting for like 5 years here in MAW and been successful at every turn? And he is a local lad. And he's gotten to live the dreams that Fox Mask never got to live by heading out to Japan. But that's still early days. George Woolf is still young. He's still got so much ahead of him. Will it be a reignition of a career, or will George Woolf's career enter hyperdrive? Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for our main event of the evening, the finals of the Ripcord Invitational 2019. And in a 64C-, it had good heat. It had decent wrestling. George Woolf defeats Fox Mask in 25 minutes and 2 seconds by pinfall with a spear. George Woolf wins the Ripcord Invitational Challenge title 2019. 2 years in a row. 2 years in a row, George Woolf wins the Ripcord Invitational. He has got to be considered one of the most dominant athletes in the history of Mid-Atlantic Wrestling. And just look at the names he's put down. He's beaten Scythe. He's beaten Ernest Youngman. And now he has beaten Fox Mask, the most successful California wrestler in the history of Californian wrestling. And that is not a young scene. That scene has been around for a very long time. It is arguably the oldest independent company in this country. And he's the ace, the master. And he came out here and he fought hard. This was not Fox Mask injured. This was not Fox Mask 45 years old and ready to retire. This was a 39-year-old man with all the mental knowledge that he has gained and none of the slowdown. He is still in his prime and ready to go. And George Woolf was just better. Because he's younger, he's faster, he's stronger, and he's more hungry. He's more hungry. And in the end, Fox Mask, throughout all that flying, all those high-flying maneuvers, all those fast-paced, hardy, charismatic, brawling kicks and punches that the crowd just lapped up and ate as the heat intensified on this matchup. And it felt like a pressure cooker as Fox Mask tried to feed on that energy and lift himself for the occasion. He just could not put the big bad Wolf down. He just couldn't put him down, no matter what he did. No matter how much he flung himself at his opponent, he just couldn't put him down. And in the end, if you leave George Woolf active and alive for too long, he is going to get you. Because all it takes is one. And tonight he proved it again. And he lifts the trophy for a second consecutive time. And he gets on the mic. And he says, you know what? I'm not even going to brag. I'm really not. I'm not even going to tell you I told you so. Because I've been talking for years. I'm just going to say, I'm going to reiterate, and I'm going to restate my mission statement. I am the greatest athlete that's ever walked through those doors. I am an ambassador for this brand. I am the most successful graduate of the Mid-Atlantic Boot Camp. I hold the Pride Historical Japan Championship. I'm out there day in and day out. I fly back to Japan tomorrow. I had a show last night, and I'm out there. And I wear these Mid-Atlantic wrestling trunks. And I wear this Pride Historical Championship. And I show the world that this is the greatest training company in the history of the planet. And you know what? People look at me and they agree because they see greatness and they see glory. And you know, I've been asking for a Mid-Atlantic Championship shot for 3 years. For 3 years I've deserved a shot at the championship. Guys have come and gone. I was asking for a shot against Greg Gage. For God's sake. I've moved to Japan and gotten a championship shot at the historical Japan title before I've gotten a single shot at the Mid-Atlantic Championship. So you know what? You don't want to give me a shot, boss man? You don't want to give me a shot, Scythe? Fine. Fine. I don't want a shot at the Mid-Atlantic Championship anymore. Quite frankly, I'm beyond it. I'm past it. I think bigger and better things are in my horizon because I am the most dominant athlete, not just in Mid-Atlantic Wrestling, but in the territories today. And quite frankly, I am well on track for a heavyweight championship of the world reign. So ladies and gentlemen, take your pictures while you can. Get your autographs while they're on sale. Buy your Where It All Begins Again DVDs, a show, by the way, that I wasn't even on. Because quite frankly, you're not going to be able to get pictures and autographs for George Woolf very long. It's only a matter of time before I win a World's Championship, and whether it's right here in the Confederation where I'd prefer it to be, so that I can look out in the crowd and say that I proved all of you wrong, or whether it's that Japanese burning heavyweight title. It doesn't matter. Because I will win it. Because I am dominant. I am a freak of nature. And it's only a matter of time. So bank on it. George Woolf fired up and confident in himself. Holy shit, this was a long show. I do hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please leave a thumbs up. This was genuinely difficult to record. We started the show at 7 minutes. So even disregarding the fact that I did ramble a fuck ton at the start, this was 32 minutes of show. Holy shit, how? How? I don't even understand. This didn't even feel that good. Like, that's the thing, is like some of this stuff didn't even feel like it was that valuable. So I do hope you enjoyed, because I'm worried that this show was just a 40-minute filler episode. So I do really, really hope you enjoyed. Please let me know what you thought in the comments. I'm not going to go over my usual intro today. or my outro today, because we've just been going on for too long. In the next episode, we'll have some fallout from this show. If you want to check out the save, be warned, there's possible spoilers there. Link will be in the description. Thank you all for watching. I'll join you guys next time for the Wrestling Classic. I'm going to go drink. I suggest you do the same.